Okay. All right. Okay, good afternoon. The time is 4:05, and I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting of the State Allocation Board to order. This meeting is being held in person at the State Treasurer's Office at 915 Capitol Mall in the first floor boardroom, Sacramento, California, 95814, for anyone who would like to provide public comment in person. This meeting is also being conducted by way of Zoom for members of the public who would like to participate remotely. In order for this meeting to run efficiently for those participating remotely, please note the following guidelines. All attendees will be muted during the meeting, and if any member of the public would like to make a comment, please use the raise hand feature in the Zoom meeting interface. I will call your name at the appropriate time, and OPSC staff will request to unmute you. If you're calling into the meeting and not using a computer or the Zoom application on a mobile device, you will be unable to provide public comment. The board will meet in closed session upon the conclusion of the general meeting pursuant to Government Code Sections 11126 E2B and 11126 E2A to evaluate the risk of litigation based on potential board action and to confer with legal counsel regarding pending litigation. Before we start with our agenda items, I did just want to welcome, we have two new board members, a new board member and a board member who is their first full meeting here. I'd like to just welcome Dr. Patel, Assemblymember Dr. Patel. She was appointed, I think, a couple months ago now, and this is her first meeting with us. And then our most recent appointment, Senator Cabaldon. Thank you for joining us. We're glad to have you and appreciate everybody making the time to be here today. So with that, we'll go ahead and move on to roll call. So Ms. Jones, would you please call the roll, noting any members joining us from a remote location?
Certainly. Senator Perez, Senator Nilo, Senator Cabaldon, Assemblymember Davies, Assemblymember Quirk Silva, and she is a virtual participation. Assemblymember Patel.
Here.
Juan Morales.
Here.
Jeremy Smith.
Here.
Ana Lasso.
Here.
Michelle Peralt.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Great. Thank you so much. We'll go ahead now and move on to our minutes. We are looking to approve the minutes for the March 25th, 2026 meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The minutes from the March 25th meeting are on stamped pages 1 through 9 of today's agenda. I'm pleased to address any questions and request that the board approve the minutes.
Great. Thank you so much. Comments or questions from the board on the minutes? Okay. Seeing none, do we have any public comments on the minutes?
Move the minutes. Okay.
It's been moved by Assemblymember Davies and seconded by Assemblymember Patel. If we could please have a roll call.
Senator Nilo. Nilo, aye. Senator Cabaldon. Cabaldon, aye. Assemblymember Davies. Davies, aye. Assemblymember Quirk Silva.
Aye.
Quirk Silva, aye. Assemblymember Patel.
Abstain.
Patel abstain. Juan Morales.
Aye.
Morales, aye. Jeremy Smith. Smith, aye. Ana Lasso.
Abstain.
Lasso abstain. Michelle Peralt.
Aye.
Peralt, aye. And that motion does carry.
Thank you so much. We'll go ahead now and move on to the executive officer's report. Ms. Kirk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The executive officer's statement is on stamped pages 10 and 11 of today's agenda, and I'm pleased to provide the board with several updates. Today's agenda does include an action item requesting board approval of priority funding apportionments resulting from Priority Funding Round 30. Please do note a correction to the printed priority funding apportionment section of the executive officer's statement on stamped page 10. Today's action item now requests board approval of approximately $745.6 million in priority funding apportionments for 189 unique projects. Staff will place a corrected executive officer statement reflecting these updated amounts in the final approved board agenda to be posted to our website following the meeting. The next priority funding filing round will open on May 13th, 2026 and close at 11:59 p.m. on June 11th, 2026. Applicants are encouraged to submit their priority funding requests electronically using the OPSC online system. Applicants submitting a request in this priority funding filing round may have their unfunded approval converted to an apportionment following an anticipated fall 2026 statewide general obligation bond sale. The Office of Public School Construction will send out an email blast in May to remind all stakeholders of this process, and further information is available on our website. We've also conducted a few outreach events recently. Firstly, this month, OPSC has held the first two in a series of 7 virtual events with open forums regarding the OPSC online application. At the December 2025 meeting, the board approved proposed regulations that will require the use of OPSC online for all application submittals beginning in January 2027. To assist school districts in preparing for this change, we are conducting a series of open forum events walking through functionality of OPSC online and answering questions in a town hall format. School district personnel and interested parties are encouraged to attend, and meeting details are available on our website. In conjunction with the California Department of Education, we recently concluded a series of 11 in-person joint workshops for new programs benefiting small school districts. These workshops were held in locations throughout California. In the near future, we will announce an additional virtual workshop via an email blast, and we intend also to make a joint recorded version of the workshop available on our website in the near future. Finally, we have 2 application funding cycles that are currently accepting applications. The first is the Career Technical Education Facilities Program for the 7th funding cycle. Applicants received their scores from the California Department of Education in late March. Those applicants with a passing score from the Department of Education can now submit their application for Career Technical Education Facilities funding to the Office of Public School Construction by 11:59 p.m. on June 30th, 2026. We anticipate presenting 7th funding cycle applications to the board for funding consideration by December 2026. Additionally, the funding round is currently underway for the California Preschool, Transitional Kindergarten, and Full-Day Kindergarten Facilities Grant Program, which opened on April 1st, 2026. Applications will be accepted via OPSC online until the round closes tomorrow, April 30th at 11:59 p.m. Our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, May 20th, and I'm pleased to address any questions.
Thank you so much. Before I move to comments and questions, I would just like to note that we have been joined by Senator Perez, and that is an online participation. Thank you, Senator Perez, for joining me. Okay, with that, thank you, Ms. Kirk, for the executive officer's statement. Are there any comments or questions from the board on her presentation? Okay, seeing none, are there any comments or questions? Seeing none from the public in the room or online. This is not an action item, so we'll go ahead then and move on to our next item, which is the consent agenda. I'll turn it back to you, Mr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The consent agenda begins on stamped page 12 of today's agenda. I'm pleased to address any questions and would request that the board approve the consent agenda.
Great, thank you so much. And I will just go ahead and note, as was already articulated as part of the EO statement, that we have had one item pulled from today's agenda off consent. So just to be noted for the record. Comments or questions on the consent agenda? Okay, any public comments on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion for approval? Moved by Assemblymember Patel. Seconded by Director Lasso. If we could please have a roll call.
Certainly. Senator Perez?
Aye.
Perez, aye. Senator Nilo? Nilo, aye. Senator Cabaldon? Cabaldon, aye. Assemblymember Davies? Davies, aye. Assemblymember Quirk Silva?
Aye.
Quirk Silva, aye. Assemblymember Patel?
Aye.
Patel, aye. Juan Morales?
Aye.
Morales, aye. Jeremy Smith?
Aye.
Smith, aye. Ana Lasso?
Aye.
Lasso, aye. Michelle Peralt?
Aye.
Peralt, aye, and that motion carries
Okay, thank you.
unanimously.
Thank you so much. We'll go ahead then and move on to our financial reports, which can be found on pages 67 through 84. Any other comments from staff on those? Okay. Any comments or questions from the board members on the financial reports? Seeing none, any public comments? Okay, seeing none, this is not an action item, so we will move now on, excuse me, on to our appeal item, and I'll turn it back over to staff.
All right. We are on stamp page 85 of the agenda. This appeal is for Selma Unified down in Fresno County. They are requesting the board reinstate their California Preschool Transitional Kindergarten Full-Day Kindergarten Facilities Grant Program project that was rescinded back in December of 2025. This project received an original portion back in September of 2023. And under that program, they had 18 months to request the release of funds by providing DSA and CD approved plans. During that time, they requested 2 board extensions to their timelines due to the need to descope their project. Their final deadline was December 27th of 2025. A couple weeks leading up to that deadline, the district submitted their documents to their consultant to submit to OPSC to request the release of funds. However, the consultant got sick during that time and missed the deadline. Unfortunately, our regs do not provide any administrative solutions for the district, so the district is appealing for the board to reinstate their application. And they currently have all their plans and construction in place that they can immediately request the release of funds. This item is very similar to the one the board approved back in January for Orland. And so with that, staff is recommending that the board approve this appeal. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and the district is available via Zoom if the board has any questions for them as well.
Great, thank you so much. So I do believe we may have a few representatives. They're both on Zoom, is that correct? Ms. Jessica Villarreal, I believe, and I'm sorry if I said that wrong, and Mr. Alex Rutherford. I'm not sure if you're online and would like to provide any comments.
Good afternoon. Yes, this is Jessica Villarreal. I'm with Selma Unified. I believe we also have Alex with us today, who is our consultant responsible for submitting the information. And as stated, we had done submitted our appropriate information. It just one of those things where he became ill and was unable to submit it. So we're just hoping that this gets approved today, and so we can move forward with completing this project. It's actually set to be completed July 3rd.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Are there any comments or questions from the board members at this time on this item? Okay, seeing none. Are there any other additional public comments on this item? No. Okay, seeing none, there is a recommended approval by staff. Is there a motion and a second to approve the recommendation? Davies. Okay, moved by Assemblymember Davies. Is there a second? Seconded by Assemblymember Patel. If we could please have a roll call.
Senator Perez?
Aye.
Perez, aye. Senator Nilo? Nilo, aye. Senator Cabaldon? Cabaldon, aye. Assemblymember Davies? Davies, aye. Assemblymember Quirk Silva?
Aye.
Quirk Silva, aye. Assemblymember Patel?
Aye.
Patel, aye. Juan Morellis?
Aye.
Morellis, aye. Jeremy Smith?
Aye.
Smith, aye. Ana Lasso?
Aye.
Lasso, aye. Michelle Peralt?
Aye.
Peralt, aye. And that motion carries unanimously.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We'll go ahead now and move on to our next action item, which is our priority funding school construction apportionments. So I'll take it back to staff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This first action item begins on stamped page 90 of the agenda. This item presents priority funding school facility program apportionments for the board's consideration, which total approximately $745.6 million for 189 projects across 89 school districts and qualifying applicants. Applicants who are eligible to receive an apportionment at today's meeting participated in priority funding round 30 between November 12th, 2025 and December 11th, 2025, certifying that they can meet fund release requirements within 90 days of receiving an apportionment. Applicants that receive an apportionment at today's meeting will be required to submit a complete and valid fund release authorization for these projects to the Office of Public School Construction no later than 11:59 p.m. on July 28th, 2026. Staff recommends that the board approve apportionments for the projects shown on attachment B in the amount of approximately $745.6 million. I'm pleased to address any questions.
Thank you so much. And I just would note as well on this, there were two items pulled from this item late. And so the packet has been updated online to reflect the new amount of the 745.6 million, which is just a little bit lower by less than 6 million. So wanted that noted. And with that, are there any comments or questions from the board? Okay. Comments or questions from the public? No. Okay. Is there a motion and second to approve the priority funding school construction apportionments? Moved by Director Lasso. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Smith. If we could please have a roll call.
Senator Perez.
Aye.
Perez, aye. Senator Nilo. Nilo, aye. Senator Cabaldon. Cabaldon, aye. Assemblymember Davies. Davies, aye. Assemblymember Quirk Silva.
Aye.
Quirk Silva, aye. Assemblymember Patel.
Aye.
Patel, aye. Juan Morales.
Aye.
Morales, aye. Jeremy Smith.
Aye.
Smith, aye. Ana Lasso.
Aye.
Lasso, aye. Michelle Peralt.
Aye.
Peralt, aye. And that motion carries unanimously.
Thank you so much. And again, great work to the staff. That's it's a lot of dollars going out that are going to impact quite a number of projects. So appreciate all the hard work on that. All right, we're going to go ahead now and move on to our second action item, which are proposed regulatory amendments for the school facility program. And I'll send that back to staff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The second action item begins on stamped page 300 of the agenda. In this item, we are presenting clarifying regulatory changes proposed for the grant agreement, Proposition 2, regarding common eligible and ineligible uses of a new project and construction management grant established within the new small school district program. On February 25th, the board approved proposed regulatory amendments on an emergency basis to implement Proposition 2 provisions authorizing establishment of the small school district program for school districts and county offices of education with an enrollment of 2,500 or fewer pupils. Since that time, our office identified the need to clarify eligible uses and limitations of the new project and construction management grant, specifically as it relates to the development of the required 5-year school facilities master plan. The proposed changes before the board today are consistent with information that we provided in 2025 during the stakeholder meeting process that informed our regulatory development of the small school district program regulations. If you refer to the highlights on stamped pages 302 and 303 of today's agenda, you will see a summary of the proposed changes to the grant agreement, Proposition 2, as well as Attachment A, which reflects the entirety of the grant agreement, Proposition 2, with all proposed amendments incorporated. As previously approved by the board in February, we will begin accepting modernization applications for the new small school district program on November 2nd, 2026, and new construction applications for this program on January 15th, 2027. Staff recommends that the board adopt the proposed amendments to the grant agreement Proposition 2 as shown on Attachment A, and that the board authorize us to combine both the proposed regulatory amendments in this board item along with the emergency regulations previously approved by the board into one rulemaking file and file them with the Office of Administrative Law on an emergency basis and subsequently make the regulations permanent. I'm pleased to address any questions.
Thank you so much. Comments or questions from the board? Okay, seeing none. Any public comments? Okay, this is an action item. Is there a motion and a second to approve staff's recommendation? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, moved by Assemblymember Patel and seconded by Assemblymember Davies. Great, thank you so much. Could please have a roll call.
Senator Perez.
Aye.
Perez, aye. Senator Nilo. Nilo, aye. Senator Cabaldon. Cabaldon, aye. Assemblymember Davies. Davies, aye. Assemblymember Quirk Silva.
Aye.
Quirk Silva, aye. Assemblymember Patel.
Aye.
Patel, aye. Juan Morales.
Aye.
Morales, aye. Jeremy Smith.
Aye.
Smith, aye. Ana Lasso.
Aye.
Lasso, aye. Michelle Peralt.
Aye.
Peralt, aye. And that motion carries unanimously.
Great, thank you so much. We'll now go ahead and move on to the reports, discussion, and information items, which are on pages 535 through 588 in your packet. Are there any comments or questions on the reports, discussion, or information items from the board? Seeing none, any public comments? Seeing none, and this is not an action item, so we'll go ahead and move on. We will go ahead now and be taking a temporary adjournment to go into.
Excuse me,
closed-
Chair, just
what?
before we adjourn for closed
Yes.
session. Can I get Senator Perez's vote on the minutes so
Oh,
that we can
yes.
finish that up?
Yes, Senator Perez, go ahead.
Senator Perez, how do you vote on the minutes for March?
Aye.
Thank you. Perez, aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So we will go ahead and be adjourning into closed session. The board will now meet in closed session, pursuant to Government Code Sections 11126E2B and 11126E2A respectively, to evaluate the risk of litigation based on potential board action, to rescind an apportionment, and discuss further actions by the board and OPSC, and regarding developments in and the status of the case entitled Milani Rodriguez versus the State of California in Alameda County Superior Court, case number 25 CV 150626. At this time, I'm going to ask board members to please follow Ms. Jones to the adjourning conference room. Remote members, we will please join the closed session Zoom link emailed to you this morning, and upon conclusion of closed session, I will report back out from session if necessary. I also would just like to note a thanks to the treasurer and her staff for helping us find this room and facility, and appreciate them opening it up to us. So with that, we will reconvene after closed session. Thank you. Okay, my apologies. I'm going to not yet recess to closed session because we have, before we do that, I should say, we do have a former member of our board who has been able to step out and join us, who is no longer on our board, but was served in a great role with us. So Assembly Member Mersucci was appointed to serve as a member of the State Allocation Board on January 26, 2023. And during his tenure on the State Allocation Board, he assisted the board in making apportionments and unfunded approvals for over 4.5 billion, that's billion with a B, representing more than 1,163 projects for the school facility program and other programs administered by the State Allocation Board. Most notably, Assembly Member Mersucci also authored Assembly Bill 247, which proceeded to the November 2024 general election ballot as Proposition 2. A majority of the California voters supported Proposition 2, which resulted in its passage as the first successful statewide school facilities bond in California since 2016. AB 247 made major modifications to the school facility program, including numerous provisions to assist small school districts and school districts impacted by natural disasters. Proposition 2 infused the school facility program with $8.5 billion in authority for the State Allocation Board to apportion funds to local education agencies to construct and modernize transitional kindergarten through 12th grade schools, benefiting their students, staff, communities, and the state of California as a whole. We would like to thank Assemblymember Mersucci for his commitment, dedication, and service to this board, as well as to the citizens of the state of California. His support to the State Allocation Board has elevated the success of the Office of Public School Construction's core purpose, which is to enrich the lives of California school children as stewards of the taxpayers' commitment to education. And at this time, I would like to ask the Assembly member to join us up here at the dais, as we do have a resolution to present to you. And Assembly member, I know you weren't here just a bit ago, but as a result of that bill, we did just allocate a little over $745 million today in apportionment. So great thanks to your work, and we appreciate it. So if you'd like to come on up, and maybe we can ask the board to come down, and we'll get a photo with the Assembly member, that would be great.
Oh.
Okay, we will now convene in closed session, and we will be back following the conclusion of closed. Okay, well, good evening now. The time is 5:08, and we will go ahead and resume open session. Pursuant to Government Code Sections 11126E2B and 11126E2A respectively, State Allocation Board met in closed session to evaluate the risk of litigation based on potential board action, to rescind an apportionment and discuss further actions by the board and OPSC, and regarding developments in and the status of the case entitled Rodriguez versus the State of California in Alameda County Superior Court, case number 25 CV 150626. Closed session has concluded, and the board met with counsel to evaluate the risk of litigation based on potential board action, concurred with counsel's assessment of litigation risk, and provided direction to OPSC's executive officer. No action was taken on the case entitled Rodriguez versus State of California. And with that, and having no other business before the board, I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 5:09. Thank you.